Lauren, thank you so much for accepting my proposal like that today.
You can stop thanking me now. I don't think accepting a proposal is really a reason to thank someone anyway. I accepted it because I like you, didn't I? We've only been here for a couple of hours, and you must have thanked me at least 5 times during this date.
Even so, I'm just so grateful that someone as amazing as you would say that you'd marry someone as normal and boring as me. That's all.
What's so special about me? There must be thousands of lawyers in the country. There's nothing special or amazing about it at all. There's nothing particularly amazing about me, that's for sure.
That's not true. Don't put yourself down like that. You are amazing, beautiful, and so smart as well. And you're working as a senior counsel in a top law firm to boot. There are lots of lawyers working under you, and a lot of the CEOs from the top companies in the country want you as their lawyer too, don't they? If that doesn't make you an amazing person, I don't know what does.
Oh, do you think? All I've done is to work hard at my job, so I didn't really think anything of it. Thank you for thinking that about me, though. It makes me feel really good.
I, on the other hand, am just a normal, everyday company worker. I'm not particularly good looking, and not especially good at anything. I'm just normal.
What are you going on about now? If you aren't good looking, who on earth is? I think you're really handsome.
You're exaggerating now.
I'm not. How can someone with a face as good looking as yours be so insecure about his appearance? I'm talking objectively as well. I'm not just saying that you're good looking to make you feel good or because we're together, you know. I really don't understand it. You're very skilled at your job, too. Just because you're only working at a small company at the moment, it doesn't make you any less of a programmer, you know. If you wanted to work abroad even, I'm sure loads of companies would be fighting over you with skills like yours.
That's another exaggeration. I just work hard at my job too, the same as you.
I'm just saying that there are lots of good things about you, even though for some reason you don't seem to see them. You're hardworking, modest, good-looking, and kind as well. I don't know how I could meet such a perfect boyfriend. No, I guess you aren't my boyfriend anymore, are you? Such a perfect fiance, as I should say now. Yes, I'm a really popular lawyer, working at one of the top law firms in the country. I met my fiance by chance, and we started dating. Everyone says that my fiance is really lucky to have met someone like me, but I think differently. If I look at the other lawyers around me, there are a lot of people who really feed off their own pride and are really arrogant, you see. My fiance is honest, pure, and modest. With a personality like that, I couldn't help but fall for him. He alone has very low self-confidence and is insecure. He's not a normal, boring person, no matter how many times he might say it. He is also very good-looking. He works as a senior programmer and is very experienced and skilled at his job. I don't really understand why he has no self-confidence. Someone as great as him should love and be proud of himself, but he is always putting himself down. I thought that it was a bit strange for him to act like that, but I just put it down to his personality and tried to move on from it. But that approach didn't last long. I finally found out why his self-confidence was so low the day I went to his parents' house to officially meet them as Ross's fiancé.
Mom, Dad, we're here.
Oh, hello, Ross. Welcome, Lauren. Please do come in. Good afternoon, Mr. Brown, Mrs. Brown. It's a pleasure to finally be meeting you after all this time. Come in, come in. And stop it with all the Mr. and Mrs. nonsense as well. We're going to be family soon, so you can call us Mom and Dad. I've made us a huge lunch to eat together. Let's talk more over lunch. Okay. Thank you, Mom. I heard that you were a lawyer. Is that right? Yes, I am. I work for K&E Law Firm. Oh my! Isn't that one of the top law firms in the country? Our Ross really has met a special girl. Oh, it's nothing, really. And modest as well. You really have brought a nice, pretty bride here to meet us, haven't you, Ross? Anyway, why do you want to marry Ross? What's so good about him? Excuse me? Oh, I like him because he's warm-hearted and kind, for a start. Oh, really? I don't think there's really anything particularly special about him.
It would have been better if his older brother, Matt, brought a talented girl like you home with him, I think.
Pardon?
Oh, it's nothing. Would you like to meet Matt while I'm thinking about it? He is handsomely tall and has a lot more going for him than Ross does, you know. Mom, what are you talking about? Why are you getting so mad? Are you jealous of your brother? You have to admit, him being better than you is the truth, though, surely.
Excuse me? Why are you talking about Ross like that?
Don't be like that. We're going to be family anyway, so you might as well meet him. Matt! Matt! Get up now, it's time for lunch. Oh, Mom, do I have to? I got in really late last night, so I'm really tired. Even so, come out here and eat something. Ross has brought a girl here to meet us. You should at least say hello. It's only polite.
Oh, hello. Nice to meet you.
Is that your girlfriend, Ross? She's really pretty. She is, isn't she? She's beautiful. She has a very pretty, kind face. She's a lawyer, too, you know. I can't believe how lucky Ross is nabbing someone like Lauren. Wow, she's a lawyer. Pretty and smart. What more could anyone possibly ask for? Mom, you must be so happy that Ross has brought you home such a great daughter-in-law. I think she'd make a better eldest daughter-in-law, if I'm honest. When are you going to bring someone to meet me? You're charming and handsome. You should be able to get any girl that you want. I really don't understand why you aren't the one bringing home a beautiful, clever girl like Lauren to meet the family. It seems strange that it's him and not you. If I had a girlfriend like Ross does, I'd bring her to meet you in a flash. I'd be married before you knew it. I just haven't met anyone good enough yet. That's the problem. What happened to the girl that you said you were meeting before? She was in her 20s, didn't you say? She's gone. I liked her because she was younger more than anything, but she wanted to break up. Who does she think she is wanting to break up with you? She should have thought herself lucky to have a boyfriend like you. I don't know. I don't think I can meet just any girl from now on, though. Just one look at Lauren and they'd be off. I think it would be difficult to find someone with brains who is even half as pretty as her. She really is gorgeous. Lauren, you don't happen to have any friends of your level, do you?
My level? What do you mean by that?
Yes, you know, friends of a similar level to yourself. I guess as you're a lawyer, you must have some lawyer friends. That would be a start. Pretty lawyer friends would be even better. Don't you have anyone like that to introduce me to? If I can't have you, I mean. Matt, calm down a bit, will you? Pretty girls like Lauren aren't usually friends with other pretty girls, you know. Don't even think about getting introduced to that kind of girl. You are such a precious, amazing boy. Don't you even think about marrying any Tom, Dick, or Harry. This is why it would have been so much better if Lauren was marrying you instead of Ross. Well, there's still time. She could meet me instead. Lauren, wouldn't you prefer to marry me over my brother? Don't you think that I am a fine specimen of a man?
You're joking, right? I'm here saying I want to marry your brother. Don't you think it's a bit strange of you to say things like that to me? Especially right in front of your brother.
Of course I am. It was a joke. But you really are beautiful. Don't you forget that.
So, there was Mom and Matt being inappropriate and laughing like nothing was wrong, and my poor fiancé standing there listening to it all in silence. It was a very ironic situation. It was actually like I was watching people from a different planet. I just couldn't even begin to understand what was going on or why Ross's mom and brother thought that it was appropriate to talk about me in that way. Watching Mom belittle her own child like that, I even wondered for a moment whether Ross had been adopted or something like that. I really didn't understand how she could act like that. What was worse was that I was introduced as the girl he planned to marry, and they were telling me that I should date his brother instead like it was nothing, and his brother was even giving me the eye and flirting with me. I would never have believed that people like that even existed if I'd not seen it with my own eyes. I just felt really angry as I couldn't possibly understand what was happening. I hope that you all know how I was feeling. The phone call Matt had with Ross later was even more ridiculous.
Hey, your amazing big brother is calling you. You should answer the phone a lot quicker than that. It's almost like you are mad and don't want to talk to me or something. Just tell me what it is that you want to say. Oh, you really don't want to talk to me then? Are you acting like this because of what I said to Lauren yesterday? Are you sulking? You're still so narrow-minded. I was only having a laugh. Did you just expect me to ignore the fact that the girl you brought home was drop-dead gorgeous? How could I possibly do that? You know me way better than that by now, surely. Just tell me what you want so I can hang up. We aren't close enough to be yapping and joking around like this anyway. Why are you being like this to your amazing big brother? How can we not be close? We're brothers! I don't really have anything important to say to you, by the way. What is it that you want to say, then? Lauren didn't look like she hated me yesterday, anyway. Shall I try to snatch her from you? You know, I could if I really wanted to. I'm much better looking and much more talented than you are, and you know it too. Mom did say that she preferred if my wife was a competent girl like Lauren is. Well, with me being the firstborn and everything. If you're just going to say rubbish like that, then I'm going to hang up. I just don't have the patience to listen to it any longer. I'm sick and tired of everyone treating me like this all the time. Rubbish? How could you possibly say that the head of our household is talking rubbish? You're answering back a lot more as you're getting older. I better put a stop to that. You need to be taught some manners, you know. Oh, if it wasn't rubbish, maybe it was just nonsense? Whatever it is, I'd be really grateful if you were to stop it now. How could you possibly tell your little brother's future wife so boldly that you were going to steal her from her future husband? If that isn't rubbish, then I don't know what is. It was the first time that Lauren met our family as well. You should have at least toned it down a bit for the first meeting, if nothing else. What must she have thought? What would she have thought? Well, she probably thought that I was a lot better looking than you are, and definitely a much better catch. And maybe that she wished that she'd chosen to marry me instead of you. Don't make me laugh. Lauren isn't that kind of person. She'd never choose you over me. She loves me and agreed to marry me, not you. Anyway, that's something to think about later and isn't what's important right now. What do you want then? Get to the point, will you? Like I've told you before, I don't have time for and don't want to listen to your nonsense. So just say what you have to say so that we can both get on with our days. You're going to join, right? You better give me some spending money too, then. Join what? What do you mean, am I going to join? Join! You know exactly what I mean. Surely you're thinking about joining, bringing an amazing girl like that to meet us. Well, I, the first son, have yet to marry. So Lauren is the only daughter-in-law, right? If that's the case, you should both come and live here to look after our parents. I've really heard enough of your nonsense now. I told you it's not nonsense. Of course the daughter-in-law has to move in to help take care of her parents-in-law. What did you expect? And Lauren's smart, so I'm sure that she'll already be thinking about it. Stop it right now. You've spent my whole life gnawing away at me, and now you think that you're going to exploit my wife too? I told you, Lauren is so smart that she's definitely thought about the two of you moving in with us. You need to pull yourself together. You were only lucky enough to meet someone like Lauren because Mom and Dad did such a good job at bringing you up. If they hadn't kept you or raised you like they did, do you think that someone like you would be with a girl like her? I don't believe you sometimes. They've done nothing but belittle me, criticize me, and compare me to you my whole life. Is that something to be proud of? It's thanks to our parents that you're here today, so surely it's time for you to be a good son to them. You're really lucky it's all worked out like it has. Your older brother hasn't got married yet. You should have really waited and got married after me. Did you know that? It's only thanks to me and Mom being so generous that you're able to get married first at all. Looking at all the things we've done for you, surely it's only right that you move in and take care of your parents, isn't it? Stop being so ridiculous. Don't you realize how much I've had to put up with you all looking down on me? You've all done it my whole life. What exactly is it that you think that you and Mom have done for me anyway, except for treating me like trash? Do you think I'm going to let my wife suffer the same? Never. There's no way that I'm going to move in, so you can get that ridiculous thought out of your stupid little head. Even if Lauren agrees to it, I'm never going to let it happen. If you don't want to live with us or look after your parents, then maybe you should just give your fiancé to me instead. What? You heard me. Give Lauren to me. It would be much better for her to marry me rather than you anyway, don't you think? Why would anyone choose you over me if they had the choice? She only chose you because she hadn't had the chance to meet me. She's a top-shot lawyer, so I wouldn't make her quit her job or anything like that. She'd still have to do all of the housework, though, and give me spending money, of course, if she lived with my parents. You're always going on about how you're the eldest and how much better you are than me. But why can't you do anything for yourself? Why should my wife have to go to work, and then come home and do all the housework as well? Why do you say that like it's obvious that she should do all of it? To tell you the truth, I've just quit my job, you see. They kept nagging me and going on at me to do stuff all the time, so I just chucked my resignation letter at them and walked out. What? You've resigned again? You can't have been there more than a few months this time, surely. Yes, I did. In a situation like this, surely it would be better if Lauren married me instead of you. How many times is it that you've quit your job like this now? Are you in your right mind? Why? If I don't like working there, then I have the right to quit, don't I? They weren't even paying me much anyway. I don't have to put up with all of their nonsense just to work somewhere I don't even want to work. Your Lauren must bring home a lot of money, doesn't she? That's why she's a better match for me than she is for you. Do you still not see that? The wife that makes the most money should surely go to the firstborn. It's only you that thinks like that, you know. No, it isn't. I bet Mom would prefer that she married me as well. Even Mom said that it would have been better if Lauren had met me instead of you. You're both the same, the pair of you. Always looking down on me and having these ridiculous ideas. Lauren's very pretty and has a great body, too. I wonder why she's with someone like you. Girls like that are usually a bit more picky about who they choose to marry. If you call me about anything like this ever again, I won't be held responsible for what I say. Whatever. Mom already thinks that you're going to live with us anyway. Oh, and you know that you're going to have to give me spending money as well as Mom, don't you? You better give generously, Ross. If you do, I'll try not to take your fiancé away from you. Who says that she likes you anyway? Even if she doesn't, I've given you permission to get married before me, so you have a duty to treat me well now, you know. That's ridiculous. Where do you get these stupid ideas from? There are house rules. That's what they are. I've really had enough. I've had to put up with your nonsense for my whole life. When am I going to be able to leave this family?
Hello, you're Ross's younger sister, Jo, aren't you?
Hello. Yes, that's right. It's nice to meet you at last. I'm sorry that I wasn't there when you came to meet our family the other day. I was a bit busy that day.
That's fine. These things can't be helped sometimes. Why have you suddenly come to see me, though? Not even at home, at my law firm?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I thought that you would probably be busy, but I thought that you ought to know this right away.
You don't have to be sorry. What is it that you wanted to tell me?
Warren, are you really planning to marry Ross?
Excuse me? Of course I am. We've already combined our houses, and we're going to go and sign the marriage documents soon. I'm a bit busy to have the wedding ceremony at the moment, so that will have to wait a little while, though.
I'm really sorry to ask you this, but would it be possible for you to just not marry him?
What? You're saying that you don't want me to marry Ross?
Ross is not a bad person. On the contrary, he doesn't know anything about any of this. But I thought someone should tell you about this. It's really sudden, isn't it? Sorry for shocking you like this.
It is pretty sudden, yes. I'm a bit surprised, seeing as you've just suddenly turned up at my workplace and told me not to marry your brother, the man that I love.
To be honest, I wanted to meet you and tell you this when you came to meet our family. But Mom told me that she didn't want me to meet you and put you off and sent me out.
She didn't want you to meet me? Why wouldn't she want you to meet me?
Well, I'm not really nice to look at, am I? My face is not pretty and I'm really skinny too. I have huge bags under my eyes and I look really weary all the time.
What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with you. Don't say things like that. You're really pretty, Joe. Your eyes are big, your nose is delicate, and your face is all cute and round like crosses.
Thank you for saying that to me. I don't think anyone has ever said anything like that to me before. And you did the first time I met you. Even though you must be at least a bit annoyed at me for turning up and asking you not to marry Ross like I did. Anyway, I wasn't able to see you then because Mom took me out, so I've come to see you now instead.
Would it be possible for you to tell me the reason why you don't want me to marry Ross? Ross and I love each other very much, you see. And I can't just suddenly break up with him because you want me to.
Of course. I didn't think you'd be able to just break up with him.
Just hold on a minute. Why can't I marry Ross?
To be honest, my whole family is trash. I hate them. Mom, Dad, Matt, all of them. Oh, except Ross. He's the only decent person in the family.
Well, to be honest, I kind of gathered that. I thought it was very strange the way they were acting and the things they were coming out with on the day I went to your house to greet them, if I'm honest.
That's nowhere near what they're really like. That's not even half of what they're capable of.
Excuse me? You mean to say that they are worse than that, even? They made a joke that they were going to make me marry Matt instead of Ross, and said that Matt was much better looking and more talented than Ross. You mean to say they're even worse than that?
To be honest, I heard what was said in a phone call between Matt and Ross. That's why I suddenly came to your workplace to find you today. I came as soon as they'd finished the call.
A phone call? You mean Matt called Ross and said something so bad that you don't want me to marry Ross anymore?
Matt basically told Ross to give you to him. That he was going to marry you instead. That a girl as amazing and beautiful as you should marry the first son. Matt was just saying things like that to Ross.
Pardon? What was he thinking? I have no interest in marrying Matt, especially after how he was when I met him.
I know that, but Mom and Matt don't think like normal people do. They're people who think that they can get whatever they want whenever they want, and that what they say is basically law. It has to be obeyed.
Even so, how could they possibly think that they could make me marry my fiance's brother?
I've been treated badly and discriminated against by them all since I was very young. They also neglected me quite badly.
Neglected you? I'm really sorry to hear that they treated you like that. But from what you've told me and what I witnessed the first and only time that I met them, I can't say that I'm surprised. From what you've just told me, it must have been pretty bad.
Matt only judges girls on their body and how pretty they are. Starting from when I was very young, he used to say things to me like, "Oh, aren't you pretty? You're my pretty little girl, you are." When I got older, he used to say things like, "Don't you have a nice figure? You look so glamorous in that dress."
What? He used to say things like that to you, his little sister. How could he possibly say things like that? And I guess no one stopped him, did they?
That kind of thing doesn't matter to Mom and Matt. They said things like that to me so often while I was growing up that it was really hard to put up with it. They also didn't let me go to college because they said that I had to do the housework and look after the family. And they decided before I even graduated high school that I was going to get a job in a factory so that I could contribute to the household while doing all the cooking and cleaning and all the other chores at the same time. I didn't even have time to eat properly most of the time. I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm so small and skinny.
I can't believe someone could do something like that, especially a mom to her daughter. Your daughter should be the most important person in the world to you, not someone who can be treated like that.
Ross is the only one who was kind to me and treated me properly. Still, I've never told Ross any of this. I don't think I could bear to tell him what I've had to put up with.
I understand why you couldn't tell him. How could they say those shameful things to you like they were nothing? As a fellow woman, I can understand how hurt and ashamed you must have felt. Don't cry, Joe.
Thank you for being so kind to me, Lauren. I heard Matt on the phone to Ross saying that as you have a good job, you'd have to take care of Mom and Dad, and that you had such an amazing figure and things like that. And I could not tell you about it all. I can't bear for you to join our family and be treated in the same way that I have been treated. So I don't think it'd be a good idea for you to come to our house anymore. I know that you love Ross and that he's a good person, but because I'm not strong enough to fight them, the only thing that I could think of was for you not to marry Ross. I'm really sorry that I had to say all of this to you.
You have nothing to be sorry about. Don't cry anymore over them. They're not worth your tears. Look, your beautiful eyes are all swollen. Come on, stop this now. Let's go outside and get some air for a minute. I think that'll be best. Thank you so much for telling me all of this, by the way. It must have taken a lot of courage for you to come here and bare your soul like this to someone you'd never even met before. There was nothing I could do but to comfort Ross's sister, Jo, who had somehow found the courage to come and see me to warn me about her family. Skin and bones from working so hard and years of neglect, she cried tears from her tired eyes, telling me that she was really sorry to have to say this, but to please not marry Ross. How could anyone possibly discriminate against and be cruel to their own flesh and blood to this extent? If someone was to treat my little sister like that, I'd be there causing a scene and screaming blue murder. I told Ross what Jo had said to me. He thought that she would have been treated in a similar way to how he had been treated, and was extremely shocked when he heard what she had been through. It was the first time that I'd seen someone's mood change that severely, from raging to upset. That evening, we decided to invite Jo out for dinner so that the two of them would have a chance to talk properly about what they'd both been through and to see if we could think of any way to stop it happening to them anymore in the future. Ross cried listening to what she had to say. Jo cried telling him what she had been through, and I just sat there feeling mad and helpless. How could someone neglect and pick on people as kind as Ross and Jo? I decided that things couldn't go on this way any longer. Both Ross and his sister had to be saved from that awful family. I tried to think what could be done, and thought of a good opportunity to make it happen. So I decided to talk to Ross about my idea.
Lauren, what's the matter? Why are you calling me? You aren't at my parents' place, are you?
No, don't worry. Try to calm down a bit. Everything's okay. You're getting really agitated over nothing.
Really? I'm sorry. What did you want to talk to me about?
It's just that one of my seniors from the law firm that I'm working at the moment is living in the UK at the moment. And he said that he's going to start a new law firm over there, you see.
Oh, really? That must be very exciting for him.
Yes, and he was wondering if I could help him start it.
So you're saying that you have to move to the UK?
Nothing's decided yet, but I just wanted to talk it through with you so that I could see whether or not there was even a possibility of it happening before I found out more details about it. That's all.
No. Let's go to the UK.
What? Really? My senior is a really good lawyer, but you can never tell how well new businesses are going to go, and I have a really good job already, so I didn't know what you'd think about risking it all and moving abroad.
It's fine. There would be a lot of work there for me as a programmer, and as long as you're with me, I would be happy with manual labor or anything really to keep myself busy and to help you while you and your senior get things up and running properly with your new law firm.
Oh, Ross!
I'm thinking of it as a great opportunity. A chance to get away from my terrible family. I don't want me, you, or Jo to suffer anymore because of trash like them.
Are you sure you'd be okay moving to the UK?
If we stay here, they'd always be calling or finding new ways of hurting and humiliating me. You know they would. And after I found out properly what Jo has been through, I can't bear to let her put up with any of it for a second longer than she has to. Matt said that he isn't going to give up on you, even when we're married, you know. Wonky's talking about us moving in with them. I think moving to the UK will be loads better than having to put up with all their harassment all the time.
If that's really what you want, then I'll let my senior know what we've decided and try to find out the exact details about the company and about what we will have to do if we want to go and join him in the UK.
Oh, Lauren! Hello again. What are you doing here on your own? You haven't come here to see me by any chance, have you?
Hello, Matt. No, that's not why I'm here, I'm afraid. I have something that I'd like to talk to Mom about, actually.
What do you want to talk to her about? If it's something important enough for you to come here and talk to Mom about, is it that you think that marrying me would be better than marrying that useless brother of mine?
Of course not. That would never happen. You really have some nerve, don't you?
Oh, Lauren. As expected, women as beautiful as you are still charming even when they're being as icy cold as you are now.
Oh, Lauren! What are you doing here? You should have called. Someone as amazing as you can come here whenever she likes, of course, even without calling beforehand. I've come here because there's something that I'd like to talk to you about, that's all. I came here straight after work to talk to you briefly. Oh, really? What is it that you'd like to talk about? The thing is, I've decided to move to the UK. The UK? All of a sudden? Is this a joke? No, it isn't a joke. I really am thinking about moving to the UK. A senior from the law firm that I'm working at now is going to start a new law firm in the UK, you see. So you've decided to go there. What about the marriage? Are you just going to go without getting married? No. To be honest, we've already signed the marriage papers. If we did it in the UK, we thought it would be a lot more complicated, you see. So we thought that we had better get it all sorted out properly before we left.
What? You mean to say that you signed the papers without our permission?
I've already been here and met you. What other permission do I need? We haven't had a proper ceremony, that's all. We've signed the papers and we're living together.
You didn't tell us any of that. Are you sure that you weren't being a bit hasty?
You don't have the slight bit of interest about what Ross is doing anyway, do you? And there's no need for us to tell you every detail of our lives, either.
Even so, don't you like me more than Ross? Are you sure that you haven't chosen the wrong brother? I was certain that you were coming here to tell Mom that you were going to marry me instead of Ross, you know.
That's a really self-centered thing to say. What made you think that I liked you more than I do Ross anyway? That I like you at all? I've already married your younger brother. How could you even think about me like that? It makes me feel sick just imagining it.
It's just that I'm better than him in every way.
Where exactly? I'm afraid I don't see it.
What?
Ross might be working in a small company now, but he is a talented programmer and he is kind and cute. You, on the other hand, are a skillless, unexperienced bum who belittles and looks down on his siblings whenever he gets the chance. Don't you think it's obvious that he is better than you?
What did you say?
I've heard everything. You quit your job again, didn't you? From what Ross told me, you left your company without even lasting a year, and you don't even have enough experience in anything to put it on your resume.
That's because that company wouldn't know talent if it hit them in the face.
How can a company know about talent when you hadn't even worked there for 6 months? What is it that you think is so great about yourself anyway?
My face, my body, my charm.
To be honest, you just look the same as most regular guys of your age do. There's nothing special about your face at all. Mom is always going on about how great and handsome you are, isn't she? But to tell you the truth, I can't really see it.
Hey! Even if you say that you don't want to be with Matt instead of Ross, what's all this? You're suddenly going to move to the UK. I really don't understand you. How can a married girl like you not think for 1 second about taking care of her in-laws and run away to a different country like that?
Well, we think that this move would be better for our little family, you see.
Your family? Whatever are you talking about? If you've married my son, that makes you my daughter-in-law. Part of this family. You should be moving in to take care of us. Haven't you given one thought to your role as a daughter-in-law?
Surely that should be the job of Matt and his future wife, not Ross and I. You even told me that Matt is the most precious to you. Surely that means that it should be your precious Matt who you looked after and raised so well and his wife that should be living with you.
Matt isn't married, though, is he? That means that you should do it instead.
I believe that you should only give back what you have received. You know the Code of Hammurabi, don't you? An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It's a sentence that I always keep in mind as a lawyer.
What?
Ross has always been looked down upon and mistreated by you. So why on earth should I take care of you and be a good daughter-in-law? You said it was thanks to you that Ross was able to meet a capable girl like me. Well, you were wrong. Nothing in our relationship has anything to do with you. Not my job, and not me marrying Ross. I fell in love with the man who gritted his teeth and found work on his own, learned his skill, and gained experience in that trade. You had nothing to do with any of it.
What did you say?
Matt is the only one who has received anything at all from you. If you brought him up as well and as comfortably as you seem to think, then surely he'll find an amazing woman to marry as well. I guess it doesn't matter to him whether he chooses to flirt with and say inappropriate things to his little sister or his brother's wife, but I'm sure that he'll eventually choose a pretty, kind, and hardworking girl. Thanks to you, Mom. A strong-minded girl who is willing to sacrifice herself, earning a living as well as doing all the housework alone.
Are you looking down on my Matt? How dare you look down your nose at him and our whole family?
I came here today instead of Ross to tell you that we are moving to the UK. I thought if Ross saw you, he wouldn't be able to tell you or to leave with me. And because he thought that you'd cause a huge fuss and start destroying things if he told you, I am here instead as his legal representative.
Representative? Why on earth does that jerk need one of those?
Anyway, to summarize, your son would like to legally end his relationship with you and will not be contacting you again. He was very clear about that. Here are the documents showing that he wants to cut contact with you and that he forfeits his claim to any inheritance that you may leave. These aren't something that he is using to ask your permission. They just show that he doesn't want to be part of this family any longer.
What does any of that actually mean?
In short, it means that he doesn't want to contact you or be contacted by you again. I'm telling you that he doesn't want to be involved in any inheritance issues and no longer has any duty to take care of any of you.
So you're saying that you're not going to be living with us? Is that it?
Oh, I see you've understood what I'm saying. I'll be leaving now. Those documents are just a copy, so it makes no difference if you rip them up or whatever. I'm going to leave any legal problems that you may have with us now or in the future with my current law firm. So if you have any questions or problems, please contact them. They'll introduce you to the lawyer dealing with all of this.
Why do family problems need to go through a lawyer like this?
Because Ross doesn't want to speak to you directly, that's why. He told me that himself, by the way. Anyway, it's getting late. I'm off. I have plans tonight, you see.
Lauren, let's try to talk just one more time. I really like you, you know. You're just my type. Why don't you take me to the UK instead of Ross? That'd be the end of it, surely. What on earth are you on about now? How can my eldest son run off to the UK? Mom, hang on a second.
You two are really starting to give me a headache now. Keep fighting amongst yourselves. I'm leaving.
Hey! Hey, Joe! Something terrible has happened! Joe! I said something terrible has happened! Why aren't you answering the phone? Come on! Answer the phone! Quickly!
I can't answer right now. I'm busy.
How can someone like you be busy? Answer the phone!
Message me. What's happened anyway?
Ross and his wife said that they're moving to the UK! They said that they are going to cut all contact with us as well. Can you believe it? All I did was to talk about them moving in with us, now that they've got married, and all without even telling me, and they're going to move to the UK to start a new life together. It's only fair that they come and look after us, isn't it? How could they possibly cut contact with us?
Why wouldn't they?
What did you say?
You wanted them to live with you and Matt? Of course they'd hate the idea. Who wouldn't?
What do you mean? What's wrong with us?
What's right with you is a better question, I think. You looked down on Ross and I and belittled us in front of Lauren, didn't you? Did you think I didn't know what you did?
I never did such a thing. I just said that it would be better if she married my firstborn instead, being such an amazing girl and all.
You're ridiculous. Ask Matt what he said then.
What? What could my Matt possibly have said to make them move like this?
If you must know, he called Ross and told him that he had to move in with you, and that if he didn't, Ross had to give Lauren to him.
He said what?
He was also saying how beautiful Lauren was and things like that. I was next to him listening to the whole conversation, and Matt didn't even care. That's how little he thinks of me. It was as if I wasn't even there.
My Matt would never do such a thing. Even if he did say those things, it would have been as a joke.
It's not just Matt, though, is it? You do exactly the same.
Me? When have I ever done anything like that?
You did it as soon as Lauren went to meet you, apparently. You said that Matt would be better for her. You said that she'd change her mind when she saw your precious Matt. You're ridiculous. You really are. Anyone would say that Ross is actually a much better person than Matt is.
You little. How could you say something like that about your brother? Don't you even feel sorry for him?
No, not at all. I feel sorry for Ross and I, who have to put up with all of your nonsense. That's who I feel sorry for.
What has gotten into you?
Did Ross say that he was going to cut contact with you? That's good. I was thinking of cutting contact with you, Dad, and Matt too, you see. If you look through the documents that Lauren gave you, you will find some from me as well. Make sure you go through them all carefully.
What? Not you as well!
You spend the whole day telling me what girls should and shouldn't do. Talking about my figure, whether I've lost or gained weight. I'm so fed up of it. I've spent 20 years listening to your nonsense, and I don't want to listen to it for a minute longer.
How are you planning to cut contact with us when you can't do anything by yourself? You work at a factory! You're so arrogant.
Do you think I work at a factory because I want to? You made me work there. I told you I wanted to go to college, and even though Ross said he'd send me there with his own money, you said that I had to stay at home to do the housework. That you were going to send me to work in a factory instead. You told me to support Matt instead. You sent Ross to college because he's a man, but told me that I couldn't go and send me to work in a factory. You were the one who put me in this situation. How can you now tease me and call me arrogant for something that you have made happen?
Be quiet. When you get married, that's it anyway. Why should I bother spending any of my money on someone who's going to end up getting married and going away? The only person left to look after this family is Matt. He's the only one that's left.
That's true. The only child you have left now is Matt, because Ross and I are cutting contact with you.
Are you still going on about that?
I've always been a useless piece of trash to you anyway. I've heard you call me your skinny house help thousands of times already. I can't remember how many times you've said horrible things to me like that, as you've said them so often. But Lauren told me different. She said I have big round eyes and a dainty nose. She said I had a very cute face.
So what? How is that going to help you earn a living?
Listen to me, will you? For once in your life. You and Matt have only ever thought negatively of my appearance, haven't you? No, that's not it. You've only thought negatively of me, full stop. That meant that I was always withdrawn and I was always ashamed and embarrassed about people seeing me. Lauren, on the other hand, only commented on the good parts of my appearance. That made me feel closer to her, someone I just met for the first time, than I do my own family who I've lived with my whole life. I was really grateful to her as well. I'm always going to be grateful to her for what she's done and what she's promised to do in the future for me.
What do you mean?
Lauren asked me to go to the UK with her too. She said that we could live together and that she'd help me to find a job and find what I'd really like to do. I was a bit hesitant at first, but I've decided that now is the time for me to be brave.
What? Can anyone just go and live in the UK if they feel like it? You've never been out of the state before, and the only thing you know how to do is work in a factory. What are you going to do there? You don't know how to do a thing by yourself.
Lauren says that there is more work there than you would think. I could go to college there too, if I wanted to. It's true that the only thing I know how to do is factory work. Thanks to you, of course. But if I really can't find a job that I want there, I could always work in a factory or a farm. Anywhere, really.
How can someone like you possibly move to the UK?
Lauren said that she was going to help me out with training and everything, you see. It shouldn't be a problem. I am a bit worried that I might turn into a bit of a burden for them, but if I don't do something soon, I know that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in this house getting insulted by you and looking after Matt. That's why I've decided to be brave and start the new life that Lauren has planned for us in the UK.
Hey! Do you think things will be different for you if you go to the UK? You're rubbish at studying. Even if Lauren gets you into training or whatever, you're so stupid that you won't be able to follow the classes anyway.
Now you've used the word stupid. Matt isn't that bright either, really, is he?
What? How dare you say something like that about your older brother? You really have overstepped the mark this time, you know.
I'm right, though, aren't I? His grades at school were never really that good, and he could never really follow what his superiors wanted him to do at work either. He kept saying that he quit because he didn't like the job or the company or whatever. But I think that they just asked him to quit because he was not right for and not good at the job.
That's impossible. Why do you keep making things like this up about my poor Matt? You just try coming home. I'll make it so that you can't say anything like that ever again. You watch me.
I won't ever need to go to that house again. I've left, you see. I've moved out.
What do you mean, moved out?
Mom, I know you take no interest in me whatsoever. But how could you not even realize that your daughter had moved out of your house? I've already packed up my things and left. Well, I hardly own anything. Only a few clothes, so it wasn't exactly difficult, but still. The furniture in my room was only Matt's old stuff that he was throwing away anyway, wasn't it? I've put it all together, so you can do what you want with it. Throw it away, keep it, I don't care.
When on earth did you do all of that?
There's no reason for you to know any of that. Anyway, I've got to get on the plane now, you see.
What? You're leaving right now?
Lauren has only just arrived, so we're checking in. When I get to the UK, I'm going to cancel this number, so you won't be able to contact me on it anymore.
Hey!
Bye, Mom. Have a good life with that precious firstborn of yours.
So that's how Ross and Joe were finally able to say goodbye and leave that awful family. The family, hit by the bombshell of what we had done, started talking behind our backs, arguing amongst themselves about who was responsible for us all leaving and causing a right ruckus. Ross and I left for the UK first, and Joe followed straight away after getting her affairs in order. She said that she stayed at a friend's house before coming to join us. I don't know whether it's because she prefers the lifestyle here, but she's looking less haggard and a lot prettier than she did before. I advised her to go to college while she was trying to figure out what exactly she wanted to do with her life. Her grades weren't bad at all when she was at school, it turned out. Joe thought about it for a while and has decided to go to college like I suggested. She has decided to go to law school to become a lawyer like me. She said that she wants to become a lawyer to help women who have suffered from domestic violence or in other difficult situations. She's studying extremely hard, so I'm sure she'll be able to achieve her goal. Luckily, the law firm that my senior started found its feet quickly, has gained a lot of associates, and has been involved in a lot of high-profile cases. A lot of clients have asked for me directly after looking up my credentials. I'm really grateful to both them and to my senior who gave me this chance. My husband is working for a top programming company. He is working as a freelancer, so we have enough money for the three of us to live very comfortably. The only people who don't seem to be living comfortably are those morons that we left behind. Yuck! It stinks of men in here! Clean up after yourself, will you, you spoiled brat? I've told you not to smoke in the house, and you better stop drinking and playing games all day as well. Oh, Mom, I told you not to just come bursting into my room like this, didn't I? I told you to clean the room when I went out. You never go out, though, do you? When am I supposed to clean it? Stop talking nonsense. How dare you shout at me when all I want to do is stop your room from turning into some kind of pigsty? Stop it, Mom. If you don't want to hear me nagging all the time like this, then you'd better hurry up and bring home a wife to do the cleaning for me, hadn't you? Do you not even feel the littlest bit guilty for making your old mom do all the cleaning around here? You know you're doing it because you love me, so why do you have to nag me so much while you're doing it? Do you think just any girl will do? She has to be pretty, kind, and smart, or else she's not a good match for me. Seeing Lauren has set my sights too high, you see. I just don't like other girls in the way that I liked her. That's ancient history now. You don't have a job and you don't even leave the house. How do you think you're going to meet a girl like that? You have to go outside to meet anyone, surely. How do you expect to find a wife when you never even leave these four walls? Other moms set up dates with smart, pretty girls and help their sons to get married. Why have you never even tried to set me up with anyone? If you did that, you'd be able to choose yourself the perfect daughter-in-law, wouldn't you? Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. I tried to set you up with a few of my friends' daughters, but they all just laughed in my face. It was so embarrassing. They all asked me who in their right minds would let their precious daughter marry a useless bum like you. You don't do the housework. You don't work. All you do is play computer games all day. What kind of girl would want to marry someone like that? I was always boasting about you to everyone, but I'm ashamed of you now. Ashamed? You're ashamed of me? Yes! I'm ashamed of you! Who wouldn't be? Everyone knows about you skulking around the neighborhood like a beggar. I can't bear to show my face at any of the local gatherings anymore because of you. You always used to say how great I was and that I was the best son. Even if everyone else looks at me like I'm a piece of trash, surely you should still say that I'm the best. You're my mom after all. I'm your first son. Well, maybe you should try acting like it then. The only reason I'm coming to clean your room like this is because you're my son. If I knew you were going to turn out like this, I'd have been a better mom to Ross instead. He's living the high life with my precious lawyer daughter-in-law in the UK now, isn't he? No matter how smart you are, it's the eyes that are important. Lauren has fish eyes. She was pretty, smart, and had a good body, but still. Anyone can see that I'm twice the man that he is. How could she have possibly married him over me? I still can't understand it. Oh, what a life! How could my precious Matt turn out like this? It's a disaster! You stupid moron! Clean up this mess! You can pick up all these tissues for a start! Your room stinks! Oh, please save me from this madhouse! Please take me away from here! I can't live like this a minute longer!
Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to see more content.